Find something you love and do it. And be unwavering, be fearless, because there are going to be hills and obstacles that come your way. Those are the one and only words of Usher Raymond IV. And in a minute, we'll be talking business with Usher and diving into a $1 million investment he's making right here in Detroit, Michigan. You're in the Enterprise Zone, right here from Detroit. Hello, everyone. This is Jabari Young, senior writer at Forbes, and I am joined by the one and only Usher Raymond here in Detroit, fresh off of a $1 million investment for entrepreneurs out here in Detroit, man. First of all, thank you so much for the time, for making the time to come talk to us, man. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Jay. Yeah. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Likewise.
Always sharp as always.
Man, well, I appreciate it, man, but I can't beat that outfit. I told you, I'm glad I didn't wear black.
Black on
right?
black.
Yeah, we'd have been two black on black brothers sitting here, right? Talking black business, dressed in black on black.
That's all right.
And it is. It really is. Man, how's 2026 been so far, man?
So far, so good. It's mighty cold here in the D.
It is.
But there's a shining light and a spark lab that is underway. Actually, really, really happy to be back here. Came here, man, in 2008. Mm-hmm. It was my first time really kind of, assisting the city through Usher's New Look with the campaign around voters registration. I can't, but you can. I can't, but you can. And I decided to, put my flag down here. We stayed here for about 5 years, and reluctantly, as a result of us attempting to try and expand as fast as we could, we were not able to sustain. So it was really exciting to come back here to Detroit and team up with Boys and Girls Club to do what we're going to do here.
Most definitely, man. Definitely dive into all of that, but I always start and ask, how's fatherhood, man? I mean, you're a girl dad. I'm a girl dad. I got a 12-year-old girl. Man, how's fatherhood for you?
Yeah, I got knucklehead boys though.
Yeah.
Got one girl who is running the house.
Yeah. She steals your heart though, right?
She steals everybody's heart, She's got that thing. Yeah. I think she might even be an entertainer.
No, like her dad.
Yeah, man, she got me doing ballet and all kind of stuff. I'm like, what the heck? Nah, man, it's great to be a father, and to be an example, hopefully, to them. And the type of relationship that I have with my kids is one that I wish that I would have had with my father, of which I didn't. But luckily, I did have the Boys and Girls Club to kind of create and offer mentorship for me to think the way that I do. I can remember going to the Boys and Girls Club and being inspired by artists that they would have come and just talk about their careers, right? And while it wasn't necessarily relevant to what I was doing at that age, who knows, that might have been the spark that actually, planted the seed that you too could be an artist. Yeah. And, to be alumni, to now come back here, hopefully my kids are inspired by that. Hopefully they'll continue to keep this dream going as I'm in this 25 years. Mm-hmm. I've been mentoring for 25 years, and I don't plan on stopping. But I'm hoping that they'll continue to be as passionate about what I'm doing.
Yeah. Are you still trying to work your way and stand to be the cool dad? I know that was like a struggle at first, but are you still in that realm of being cool dad?
I mean, in my mind, job done. But the reality is they don't look at it that way. Yeah. You can only be so cool in this time to kids that just have access to so much and can be distracted. Yeah. When they really look at what cool is, that's me. You just look at what I'm doing, dog.
They don't know that though, right? My 12-year-old, I say, hey, I got Usher. I'm gonna ask him a question.
Bruh.
It's like, I don't listen to him.
They sleeping on us, bro. They sleeping on us, but it's cool to have that relationship with my kids where, we can go back and forth and they can humble me, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, most definitely. When we get on the court, you know what I'm saying, it's a different story, you know what I mean? When we get out in front of that microphone and whatever we got to do, I let them have it. Yeah. But it's great, man. I have a really great relationship with my boys and my daughter.
Any advice for the girl dads that maybe just had a newborn girl?
Man, my advice to you, you're over. You're over.
It is.
Yeah.
You belong to somebody else.
Accept it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You are living outside of your body with a daughter. Yeah. It is like, okay, whatever. I'm not even human anymore. Yes, dear.
So they steal your heart, man. Yeah. You went to the stock market?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
What's give me a stock? What's something that maybe you're interested in, or maybe you bought a long time ago that's worked well for you?
You know what's odd, man? I've obviously put a lot of money in the stock market throughout the years, and startups is really my focus. Mm-hmm. While I do have a very diverse portfolio, it actually is this world of creativity that I'm more invested in. You know, there's economic capital, there's social capital, there is wellness capital, and then there's human capital as well, and investing in people, you know, investing in ideas. You know, I've always been, you know, a storyteller by trade of music. Well, I'm interested in telling other people's stories as well. And if I can give them the opportunity to, you know, to maybe lift off and maybe have some participation in it, maybe I can give you the seed money to be able to float your idea and hopefully grow it to a place where we can all benefit from it. If you want to grow it, if you want to sell it, whatever it might be. But the reality is that is kind of the space that I love to live in. While I have my portfolio and the things that I'm advised to invest in and the things that I take personal interest in, the thing that I actually enjoy more than anything is new concepts, new ideas. And that's a great deal of what we're doing here in Greater Michigan, to invest in the future, invest real capital by way of helping them find their spark, helping young people have access to tell their stories, and hopefully begin to create something that is remarkable. You know, not often do you see this type of innovation. When I look at what Big Sean has been able to do in the Boys and Girls Club and their innovation centers, it's a shining example of what reimagination is all about. And while I've had aspirations through Usher's New Look to find programming and maybe even find new trade and opportunity for young people to be able to find their careers. Here is an opportunity for me to be able to execute something that has two effects. One, I can create from the place of imagination. Two, I can pay it for everything that the Boys and Girls Club did for me as a kid, right? Being able to go back and understand what opportunities, if I had this expansion, if I had this resource, what I could have potentially become. So that is my investment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's stay there, right? Because again, we're here in Detroit, and it's a $1 million investment that you and Big Sean through your foundations.
And we're just getting started.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
why not more, right? Because when I was talking about this and said $1 million, I said, well, why not more money, right? Why $1 million and why not more?
Because I want to instigate the world to understand that this is a seed investment, and I want their support, right? It is not just my efforts. It is the ability of the state, the city, and entrepreneurs like-minded with the interest of investing in the resource that we have here. You know, our youth are embedded in the community, and we don't want them to leave. We want them to have access to the tools that they can grow with.
Yeah.
My goal ultimately would be to have over 500 Boys and Girls Club adopt this concept and idea of innovation centers, of spark labs, of disruptivator clubs, of entertainment environments where kids can find their way to something that's personally of interest. And this is just one of many. We opened one in Atlanta, and I just love what Big Sean is doing. So I was like, you know what? There's such a story there. One, as I told you, I came here in 2008, but when I think about what he's doing and what I'm doing in Atlanta, there's some symmetry there.
Yeah. And
then I think about what Detroit has meant to all of us as entrepreneurs. When you think about Berry Gordy and the Motown phase and that idea of artist excellence, I'm paying it back to Detroit for everything that it gave me. And if that spirit was here, then I know it's still here now. So that is the long and the short of it. I hope to be able to influence over 1 million youth within a 25-year span. 500, 25, years of a plan. Just looking forward, planning for tomorrow, not just today. If you look at $1 million today, it's just that's a good start. All right, well, what are you putting up? Can you meet and match me? Will you meet and match me? Entrepreneurs out there, will you come in and invest in what I see in your city? And can we continue to grow? I know Boys and Girls Club, Greater Detroit understands it. And the transformation and the idea of creating something so innovative that could truly make a difference in our communities, that's what we should be investing in.
Yeah. Why is mentorship so important to you? I mean, listen, you go to revisit your story, and I'll dive into it more deeply in a minute, but when you and your mom, right, when you were explaining how she had jury duty and she was just seeing all of these issues with kids who come from underserved backgrounds. And at a young age, that even, you kind of took notice of that, right? But here we are, 2026. Why is mentorship still a fire for you?
I guess at this juncture of my life, I'm thinking legacy. I'm thinking about the things and the investments that I can make that will mature in 25 years from now. It is the notion that to whom much is given, more is given. So, in the same light of, the career that I have been able to build, if the investment that I made in it is any indication of what could potentially happen as a result of us investing in youth, 14 and older, look at what it could become. But they got to have the resources. They have to have the opportunity. They have to have a new look from the environments that they are already in. And by the way, we don't want to take them out of the environments. We just want to improve the environments.
Yeah, painting the picture.
There you go.
Painting a better picture for kids. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's it like being Usher in 2026? What's it like being you?
I mean, it all depends on which portion you're talking. I mean,
the one that everybody knows and adores.
There's some pressure that comes with it. And there's some expectation that comes with this space that I'm in. Because I'm not chasing anything anymore. I'm now engineering. I'm now at a place where I'm looking for more of what I am. I'm looking to inspire the young people who thought like I did when I was 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm looking outward. I'm not looking in. I know who I am. I know what I am. I know what I offer. I know what I'm capable of doing. But I need people to be invested. I want them to understand that I'm investing in you so that you can do the same. As I said, to whom much is given, more is given.
Mm-hmm. A quote that you read and read all the time, saying, I should say, evolve or evaporate.
Yeah.
It's one of the sayings you like, right? How is Usher evolving in 2026 as a man?
Man, that's some shit that Libras say. To be honest, you know what I'm saying? It's like, to be honest, it's like every opportunity that we could have to improve, to strive for excellence. I think that's just that's a Libra trait. You do evolve or you evaporate. If I stand still, I'm lost. If I don't take the opportunity to grow and reimagine, to take every opportunity that I'm presented and not look at it as an obstacle, that right there is just where that mantra that comes from.
Yeah. Dive into your evolution right fast, because again, you challenged investors, other entrepreneurs to match that 1 million.
It's interesting that $1 million seems so small, right? But the bulk of what it could offer.
A lot.
You're talking to billionaires, trillionaires. Let's imagine if we created a pool, a resource that then says, hey, I want to invest into these opportunity zones, right? And not gentrify them, but actually reimagine and uplift. That right there that's the blessing that I think that we should be to each other.
And if you stick with the opportunity zone method, it's not only a blessing, but if somebody's investing in it, that is capital gains tax.
Yeah, there you go.
They can avoid capital gains tax.
You heard him.
Yeah, it's an opportunity zone, right?
There you go.
So that's that. But again, your opportunity came in Chattanooga, Tennessee, man. What was that like for you growing up and having those early values instilled in you?
I mean, Chattanooga is not necessarily primed in that time for expansion for creative entrepreneurs or people who have intellectual concepts and ideas. There's actors that come like Samuel L. Jackson, right? That come from Chattanooga, Tennessee. I came from Chattanooga, Tennessee. There are football players that came from Chattanooga, Tennessee who became entrepreneurs. But it wasn't an environment that was conducive for the type of growth that I think these kids will have access to here in Detroit. Even surely the idea of having some history of being able to say, oh, I want to be like what has been here before, right? Barry Gordy, the Motown phase and era, all the artists and people who came from this era, the writers, the producers, the creatives, the creative people who came up with intellectual ideas that we mimic to this day. It wasn't that. I had to find my way to the top. I had to find my way. I had to go up and go to Atlanta. We made our way to Atlanta. My mother was there at the age of 12. And around that point, I think I decided what I wanted to do with my life.
after you decided that NFL, NBA was out of the picture, right? No basketball, no football, none of that. Because
I mean, my physique ain't that bad, bro, but I don't think I was gonna be a linebacker or all-star athlete in that way. I was gonna be an all-star athlete in a different way. What I do is very acrobatic, you know what I'm saying, and athletic. But yeah, we moved to Atlanta, man, and what an opportunity zone in space. You know, at that time, Atlanta was beginning to grow to become the city that it is today for entrepreneurs, for business, for creative artists. But in addition to that, also to the opportunity to build something that now I stand on 25 years later and I'm proud of. Having graduated, thousands, and from high school and then moving on to college, to be able to mentor, to be able to be the mentorship program that I think if I had access to, probably would have made even more of a difference in my life. And God bless, spaces that were provided by the Boys and Girls Club that gave me that opportunity and that outlet. But my world was one that was built with plenty of distractions that could have taken me in the wrong direction, but I just elected to go in a different direction. Maybe as a result of where my father ended up, it gave me a clear indication of what I did not want to do. And my mother was very supportive in engineering every bit of who I am as an entrepreneur, who I am as an artist, because she was an entrepreneurial woman who, in a extremely male dominant industry, had to come and say, my son is a star, my son has something to offer, and I believe it, and I've seen it.
But then you had to convince her though, because you were going around telling people you were a star early on, and she was telling you to not do that, and you were like, why? I'm going to be a star.
Yeah.
Did you have to even convince your mom, right? Because you were talking like that. She was saying no at first, but then she even...
Well, in the South, or better yet, in Black homes, right? Sometimes to be prideful or to be too proud cause for people to go against you. And just from the aspect of you're too proud, or you're too conceited, or you're too optimistic, right?
I was gonna say arrogant, but optimistic, yeah.
Arrogant is great. Yeah. And that's what she would say, that just seems arrogant. And I would say, well, why would it seem arrogant for me to just tell you what I really believe? It's up to you to follow it. It's up to me to execute it. If I believe that I am something and I can be something, why should I stop? Why should I look at myself as anything less than what I think is great? She can argue with a kid. This is a 12-year-old kid telling her, hey, I think I'm gonna be somebody. I think I wanna do this. This is what I wanna do. And she's like, just stop telling people you're gonna do it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just do it. And I didn't stop until it became my reality.
Do you share that message with kids you mentor now? Like, hey, your mom and dad might even tell you, stop, but don't listen, keep going.
A lot of the kids that I mentor, their parents or either relatives may do that. But I always say, if you don't believe it, no one else will. So the first person who has to be unwavering in their belief of who they are is you, in order to make everybody else, at least subscribe to the idea that it could be real, I do share that story with them. I do tell people transparently who I am and what my life is. I expose, my flaws, because I want them to be able to benefit from it. I give access and opportunity so that, any, institutional kind of concepts and idea of how you approach business, how you approach creativity, how you approach entrepreneurship, how you approach intellectual expression, maybe they can reap the benefits of.
You look at your career, man, and again, people know who you are. I mean, they listen to your music. I mean, Confessions that helped me through a very difficult time in my life. So thank you.
Oh, you had a baby on the side?
No, nothing like that. But,
okay,
it was
cool.
a lot of the breakups and all of the infidelities and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? Like, we all had our youthful eras, that we had. But, when you think about everything that you've been through, man, from that kid who wanted to sing at age 11 to going to Star Search, right? And before that, having that group in Tennessee, Cha-Cha.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Star Search, New Beginning, right? The dance group down in Atlanta, to meeting A.J. Alexander and Brian Reed, to allowing them to have you go to New York Baby Huey, right? I'm the bad boy. 100 million records sold, 9 solo albums, a Vegas residency that did over $100 million reportedly, and then you perform at the Super Bowl where you didn't get paid. That's what they say. Did you get paid for the Super Bowl?
No.
No. Okay, I was just a real thing.
A lot of great things come from performing at the Super Bowl.
Right, you get all that exposure.
There you go.
Worldwide exposure.
The commas come after.
There you go.
Commas and commas.
Again, my way, confession, man, when you think about your career and you had to sum it up in one word.
Ordained.
Ordained. Why ordained?
It was meant to happen. It was called by a higher source. I think if we're obedient to the thing that is sometimes the quietest part of us, the most humble part of us, there's something brilliant and genius in that. It's just trusting it. You know, when something ain't right, you'll hear it. But sometimes we'll just ignore it, like, nah, maybe it's just my fears. But if it's not right, you gotta listen to it. You do have to be bold, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes tear through this idea of like the standard, right? What's appropriate. You know, change comes, you know, from being bold and a bit disruptive, you know, challenging the standard. But I think ordained, because I know that there is a covering over who and what I am. I do want and wish well for people. I want to be respected for what I do, but I want to be remembered for what I did.
No man makes it by himself. You know, you alone. So, you know, I owe a lot to a lot of people. Adopted family who you brought in. And so when I say these names, you tell me the first word that comes to mind, and I'll start with Jermaine Dupri.
Oh man, that's my brother.
Brother, I love it. L.A. Reid.
He's the OG.
OG, love it. Yeah. Babyface. OG Part 2?
Legend.
Legend. Pebbles.
The GOAT.
The GOAT.
The GOAT. You know, again, I talked to you about being in a predominantly male, a dominant industry, and understanding and valuing the influence of women and the ones who have known, understood, and spoke with clarity, even if they were not necessarily valued. She is the GOAT. Yeah. All of what you see that is LaFace Records, I don't think any of that would have happened without her influence. Yeah.
Lil Jon.
It's my brother.
A brother too?
Yeah.
I love that. Sean Wilson, who's helped you with New Look, right? It's the brother who you know over 20 years. Back in 1999 when New Look started, he was one of the first, and you and your mom to kind of develop the idea, right? What is Sean Wilson? What's the word that comes to mind when you think of him?
Greatness.
Greatness. Why greatness?
I think he's always strived for greatness and wants greatness from everyone and everything.
Jonetta, your mom.
Oracle.
Oracle.
Yeah.
I love that. Sean Combs.
Sean Combs. Legacy.
I asked that because, you know, when I was researching you, I found this interview from 2015, I believe, or maybe even further, where it was in Philly. It was during your tour, and I'm listening to it, and it said, you know, all of the things that were going on in New York at that time. I quote, "I knew better. Maybe it was those valuable lessons in integrity in Tennessee, and furthermore, I knew what the hell I wanted. I didn't want to go to New York for the experience. I wanted a career, right? I could have gotten to a lot of stuff, but I chose a different road. I had a plan. I had a focus, right? I wanted to get it done, and you avoided a lot of the negativity that we obviously know shows up in his story today. Young kids, how do you talk to them about avoiding that negative like you did because you had your path?
I mean, this might be a bit controversial, but in the same way, I think many people choose to look past the reality of what our country is, the standards that we now stand on. We can't ignore the reality of the history, but in many ways, I think certain people are prosecuted and maybe not recognized for the greatness, you know, that they offer. I don't have anything negative to say about Sean Combs because my experience was not what the world has seen and how he's been, you know, misrepresented. I'm not saying that every man is perfect. I'm not saying that all of us don't have flaws, but I can't, with any sense of humanity, not recognize the valuable contributions that this man made for us as Black entrepreneurs, for us as businessmen, for us as people who transition, you know, culture and ideas into something that's tangible and becomes business. So many people benefited from what he created. And And I acknowledge that. And that's why I see him as legacy.
Yeah. You told Shannon Sharp you learned a lot about business during that era.
Absolutely.
What'd you learn?
Puff was a mentor, but he was like a, you have that really, really hard teacher, but you're watching something in real time. I think that the idea of the level of discipline that came with that time in business, especially in an era that was trying to prove itself culturally in hip hop. Now, you can't turn on the television and not see the influence of hip hop.
That's right.
But the people who actually made that appropriate and are the forefathers are people like Sean Combs. And not just in the great times that they had musically, but in the idea of being able to find ways to monetize culture and create something that was not just black or white. It was colorless. It was green. That's who I see that man as. And that's what I choose to remember. I put respect on his name because I realized that, what I learned as a businessman before I even understood what business was, came as a result of seeing the incredible things that he was able to do and the way that he positioned himself as a businessman. There are trials and tribulations that come with the pressures of success and power. But what we choose to do with it is what I hope that you see with me and hopefully all the people that I'm involved with, right? Big Sean Wilson, the Boys and Girls Club. They're doing things that I think are positive with the power and access that they have.
Well, staying on the business tip right fast, man, and get you out of here on some fun stuff afterward. But any missed investment opportunity you still think about today? You said, damn, I wish I would have invested in that.
Vitamin water.
Vitamin water.
Yeah.
That's my 50 cent.
Yeah.
What happened with that?
Man, they were coming around me early before they even did 50 water. And I never forget, because my mom was really, really diligent about anybody kind of like riding. But that was one that could have been an investment. Starbucks was an early one that everybody kind of looked over. Dave's Hot Chicken is one that I didn't miss.
There you go. Right. Yeah.
But there were a few things that I do wish that I had given more attention and time to. It's a lot, man. It's really a lot. But I am open and available for ideas that I think give people some sort of cultural connection and experience. I don't like to just invest in things just because of the numbers. If I'm not organically tied to it, then I don't necessarily want to be associated with it. And that right there, could be shorthand. Maybe the numbers need to look better. Maybe the analytics that come back and the people who I work with and rub elbows with, could make it easier for me to even understand certain levels. Even at this age, being a mentor, I look to the world for mentorship in those areas of business. I want to know more. I want to grow. But I also to offer something that's very unique as a result of my experience and my access, places I've gone, and the level of what it is that I accept. It is excellence or nothing for me. But yeah, there's some things I wish I would have put my money in.
Yeah. Were you still an investor in the Cavs? Still?
I'm still associated with Dan Gilbert.
You sold your stake in the Cavs.
But I did sell my stake in the Cavs.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Right.
Yeah. We're still great friends.
Yeah, I mean, listen, those capital costs could be a lot, man. When, so you have to get rid of your stake. When did you sell it?
Recently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cash out, man. How about Gamma? You still in business and invested with them?
Yes.
Masterclass?
Yes.
Still invested.
Early.
Right. Yeah.
That was early. Yeah.
Lovers and Friends Fest, is that still on?
Absolutely. The festival is still going. We had a bit of a bump that caused us to have to move some things around.
It's coming back in 2026.
But I am looking to bring it back in 2027.
Yeah.
2026 might be a little bit too much with the Olympics and World Cup, that's coming to Atlanta and Las Vegas. We typically did all of our festivals in Las Vegas. What I'm looking to do is expand outside of America. But
with the fest?
Yeah.
Take Lovers and Friends International.
Yeah, that would be my hope.
Yeah. Try to get an invite if it goes to Africa. Got to go to Africa. You into crypto?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Ghana is definitely a great place to look at, man. I've spent some time there. I think it would be really great to bring the festival. Yeah, Ghana. Yeah,
love it. But not the crypto thing. You said a little bit, but not too much.
Yeah, not too much. Yeah.
Sean is big crypto guy. I don't talk about that.
Yeah.
You're like, nah, I'm not.
We haven't really chopped it up on that. Maybe I'll ask him more about it while I'm here in Detroit.
Yeah. Well, what is the craziest one that somebody bought you where you're glad you didn't invest?
craziest one that I was brought that I didn't invest in.
And you're happy about that. You look and say, man, I'm glad I didn't put my money there.
I think I'm conservative enough to have not had as many experiences that said that.
Yeah.
And the ones that I probably took a loss on, as entrepreneurs know, if you can't, stomach the loss, then don't make the investment. But yeah.
Yeah. Any car dealerships, restaurants?
Restaurants. Yeah, that was, I don't like to talk down on anybody's concepts in business. The ones that didn't, like I said, I don't look at them as obstacles. They were opportunity now for me to learn. I was ambitious when I first started and put my money in a restaurant. I wasn't quite ready, and neither did I have the understanding of exactly how to manage certain things. Now I do.
Well, what did you learn about that experience, the restaurant?
Location is everything. Workforce and IPADA, all of those things are very, very important to lock in before you move forward.
That human capital too, man.
Yeah.
Paying people, the Eagles, all of that. Yeah. Naming your business empire in one word. Like when you got to passing it down, when your daughter is fighting with her brother, it's like, no, I'm in control of dad stuff. What's the name of Usher Raymond's business empire?
Hopefully it's not Succession, right? Transformative.
Transformative.
Yeah.
Why transformative?
Because I think that as I've grown, I've had to shape things and move in different directions. I've had to move into areas that redefine certain businesses, and also to expect that from the businesses that I had invested in. But that, once again, is based off of my ability to kind of be associated with the businesses as opposed to, hey, it's just a raw investment that I'm gonna put my money in. Like, I like to be hands-on. So having influence within the investments that I've made and also to being a contributor. The one great thing that I have is my likeness. So to be able to leverage
that's
that.
a special IP to have too.
Yeah, that human capital is definitely worth it. But yeah, transformative in that way because I look for it to continue to sustain as a result of its ability to continue to perform. And I should have said performative.
Performative. Could have performative. You can change it right now. Transformative, performative, right? But performative probably does fit you a little bit better. It does. Man, get you out of here on some fun stuff. And I definitely appreciate the time, my brother. You come out here. It's snowing right here in the back. You coming from the Grammys and leaving that beautiful tropical weather out there in LA. It's a little cold out there as well, but coming to Detroit, thank you. The time is the most valuable thing you can offer, and I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Without question, I'm happy that I could be here and share something that I think only adds to the rich history of what Detroit has offered. And I look to continue to do this. As I said, this is just the beginning. But I am looking for that partnership that I think is going to grow this city and many, many others. I hope to take this model of innovation and go into boys and girls clubs and hopefully instigate the same idea for other corporations to adopt this concept and idea. For your business expansion, and also to just the fact that I can pay it back for everything that Detroit has offered me. Without Motown, I wouldn't be the artist that I am. I wouldn't be the entrepreneur that I am. So I'm happy to be able to give back to the city with Big Sean.
Yeah, it is a special
and
city.
Boys and Girls Club.
Absolutely, it is a special city. Creative
Detroit.
Environment is here. Get you out of here on some fun stuff, man. I think I know how you made your first million, maybe doing something performative. But how did you spend it? Like, how did you spend $1 million?
You want to know where my first $1 million came from? My first $1 million came from Big John Platt. And he made a great...
Over at Sony?
Yeah, over at Sony, yes. You would never imagine that an artist who has the type of influence that I had would have been subject to the contracts that I was at that age, but that is the reality. And part of what it is that this environment gives, right, to have that leverage to not be subject to, bad contracts, right? But, I was making money, I guess, as a result of being a work for hire, and didn't have much influence of my creativity, of which I'm very happy with the results of what came out of that. But there's so much more that I could have gotten and garnered from having more control when I first started. But God bless Big John Platt for giving me my first $1 million. Now, how I spent it, that's a different question, right? When you get into the idea of, the IRS and them taking their portion, I think I was upside down before I even started, Never been too frivolous. I am now, in terms of
You got
just
kids.
yeah, I got kids now. Unfortunately, those are the things that just those expenses that they just add up.
Absolutely.
But I didn't rush to go get a car. I didn't rush to buy a whole bunch of jewelry and cars and stuff like that. I think I was putting that money into a studio in my home. My mother and I lived together at the time. She took the top floor. I took the basement floor, and we began to try and build from there. I was always willing to invest back into my intellectual profile to try and build and create other resource.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your superpower today?
My superpower, translation.
Translation.
I think that God has given me the ability to be a vessel. And I think that it is a superpower that I was blessed with, to be able to move myself into all of these different spaces and add value and understand how to maximize all of what it has to offer, rather in business or rather in creativity, as an actor, as a producer, as a curator, as a businessman, as a entrepreneur. I think all of those things suit what God gave me is that gift of being able to be that translator.
Yeah. Well, again, you helped me through confession, so thank you for translating that message for me, man, because it was very helpful. Speaking of that, when you look at the music business in 2026, what does Usher Raymond see?
I see environments where our culture is able to keep us sustained. I think that music can sell everything but itself. We're on a download basis, right? And numbers and likes are the means of what we have in terms of capital. A tangible copy, even though it's very great to have analog things, it is slowly but surely becoming less relevant. So now going back in and creating environments where those things become more relevant is what I begin to invest in. So I'm investing in studios. I'm investing in mixed use community spaces. I'm investing in collaborating with builders to create, environments of theater. I have a theater that I'm building in Atlanta, Georgia, which is a part of the Centennial expansion program and project downtown in the Gulch. With Live Nation, partnered with Michael Rapino in a theater there, as well as a restaurant, and also to a club. But those are things that, one, are a bit legacy, but at the same time also to create an environment where we can offer things that are very, very unique. I think that the essence of what R&B, rhythm and blues offers, you don't have the same ability in improv and spaces. So I want to create spaces where people can enjoy those things as well.
Yeah, investing in live, in-person things.
Yeah. Live and immersive experiential things. Yeah. So many people are so caught up, like engulfed with this idea of being the king.
Yeah.
Right. I'm more interested in building a kingdom. That's my focus. And I'm in a legacy space of my life. So the time and attention that I give to a creative idea is based off of building an environment that gives true sustainability to our culture.
When you look around the world, what country do you put your money in right now? Like, go over there and invest right now. You said Ghana's Africa.
What place would I put my money right now?
Outside of the U.S., it is.
I think there's a real opportunity, and has always been, in France.
France?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, when you say capital, right? Yeah. Economic capital or human capital and time, because when you think about all of what Virgil Abloh and what Pharrell Williams and all of those guys are offering in that space and what it has now matured to, both culturally and in business, it's great. I would love for us to have more resource here in America to be able to manufacture things here. But we do have to go outside, and we have to work with those people who have the access to be able to, create and also to distribute our concepts and ideas. Yeah. So that's one place that I would think would be smart. Financially, would it make the most sense? I don't know.
Well, you'll find out, right? Yeah. Go there and invest. Yeah.
But in terms of human capital, time, and focus.
So in 2026, here we sit, man. What's been your soundtrack to the year so far? What's been the music that's been keeping you motivated, positive, creative? What's been your inspiration?
I love Kehlani right now. I think Chris Brown is incredible. I think that Leon Thomas is great. I think that Gibeon is really great. You know, and then also to all of the classic artists that come from my time that have been able to sustain. I love what they're doing. I love the opportunity for new artists and being able to give way to them. I got my new artist, Jadon, who I'm really investing the time and focus in making certain that he has the greatest opportunity to be the biggest artist that he can be. Yeah. And that list can go on. There's incredible writers out here. There are amazing creative people who I think are just in need of an opportunity. And I just want to create the environment for them to be able to shine. Yeah. That's why I'm building that theater in Atlanta. That's why I'm working on these mixed use community spaces where business and being able to live at the same time and come into some sort of immersive experience based off of the experiences that I've had in places that I've gone, the access that I've had, and now being able to curate with that level of excellence, you know.
Get you out here on this, man. Two things, because I don't know next time we're gonna be able to talk business again. You're a very busy man. You might put together another residency and that takes you 18 months and you're out of the picture. But the first part of it is Jim Collins, one of the favorite business books that I've read, Good to Great. What's the difference between a good music artist and a great one?
Is their level of commitment to whatever it is they're doing. Right. You know, musically, creatively. And then their ability to continue to be as honest and authentic.
Last thing, it's the difference between a good foundation and a great one.
Time. Yes.
And you put a lot of it in there. I mean, when you first talked, I said,
25 years.
Over 25
You said
years.
20 years.
I said more than 20. I said more than 20 years, man. Congrats for more than 20 years.
All my years. Give me every last one of them.
More than 20 years, but more than 25, right? I mean, listen, to have that level of longevity in your career as well as a foundation, that has to be saluted, because a lot of artists don't put that time in. They'll pitch me, hey, Forbes, and they don't show up. They're not here. And so the fact that you put that time in, when there's a blizzard almost going outside, that's impressive.
That's right.
Yeah. Usher Raymond, man, thank you so much for the time. Definitely appreciate it. Good luck to you and your business endeavors, man. And don't be a stranger, man. Come back and talk some more business.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
Absolutely.